Tell the truth or you're going to jail. What's going on, guys? It's Lincolnite. I'm back for another video. Today I'm gonna do another edition of story time, simply because I can't think of anything else to really make a video about, and I know it's been a while since I've posted. So I want to tell you guys about the time that I was almost arrested. Ah, shit, I probably could have gone. Yes, you heard that right. I, the little 5'10", 5'11", 120-pound kid that I like to think is pretty well behaved, I almost got arrested. So we need to flash back to my freshman year of high school, 2012. Holy shit, that was 8 years ago, good God. But so the high school that I went to was in a different district than like the high school that I was supposed to go to. Ironically, the high school I was supposed to go to, Lincoln Northeast, was 3 blocks away from where my parents lived. But for some reason, I got sent to Lincoln East High School, which was about maybe 5 miles away from where I lived. So one of my good friends from middle school went to that high school with me. So the arrangement in the morning was my dad would pick my friend up and he would drive us to school. And then his mom would pick us up from school, and I would just go to my friend's house and I would hang out there until one of my parents could pick me up, because they both had full-time jobs and they worked until, you know, 4:30, 5 o'clock. But since it was like really nice out, oh shit, that bump fucking sucks. But since, you know, it was really nice out and the school wasn't really all that far away from where my friend lived, you know, maybe about a mile or so, sometimes we would just walk from school back over to my friend's house. Well, so, you know, it's probably about maybe a 1.5 mile walk or so, you know, it wasn't really too bad. But there was a bridge on this road that we would walk on over to my friend's house, and it went across this creek. Well, so one time, I think it was me, I had the brilliant idea of, hey, let's go explore underneath that bridge. Let's see what's under there. We went down there and we found a bunch of tunnels and stuff. So we didn't have a flashlight at that point in time, so we were like, okay, you know, like I'll bring a flashlight to school the next day, and then when we're walking home we could go under there and we can explore. So the next day I brought a flashlight and we went under this bridge and we started exploring all those tunnels, and it was actually really, really cool. Like, they were big enough that you could like walk in, and you know, they went all over the place, and you know, there are all sorts of different paths that you could take, and it was actually really, really cool. So we did this, you know, a couple of times. We would explore like different paths each time. You know, you'd find all sorts of shit down in there from like probably homeless people that lived in there and shit, but it was really cool. It was a lot of fun to explore. So I think it was a couple days later, like I said, we did this pretty regularly. We'd go explore those tunnels like almost every single day when we were walking home. But so a couple days later, we were talking to some of our friends. We were telling them about this. We were like, dude, there's like these really cool tunnels and stuff, and they're really fun to explore. Like, you guys should come with us. So after school, this group of maybe 6 of us, I want to say, we all walked over to this bridge. We went down underneath there and we were exploring the tunnels. Now, I should add, this was back when I actually did smoke cigarettes. So I had like a pack of cigarettes and a lighter and that sort of stuff in my backpack. That will come into play a little bit later here. So one of our friends brought a can of spray paint, and he was going to like do graffiti and stuff underneath this bridge in these tunnels. So he did some, and I had lit a cigarette, and this kid was like, oh hey, let me see that lighter. So I give it to him, and he starts doing those flamethrowers with the spray paint, where you hold the lighter in front of it and you spray it and it makes this big flamethrower. So we're sitting there like laughing, like, oh dude, that's like so cool, that's really funny. He gets this idea to like spray a bunch of spray paint on like the ground and then lights the spray paint, and you know, it's like sits there and it burns for a little while. And he was like, oh, there's this bush over here, I'm gonna spray paint one of the branches on it and then I'm gonna light it and see what it does. So I think at first I was the one that was like trying to light it. Like, he was spraying it with the spray paint and I was like trying to light it, but I couldn't get it to light. So he was like, here, give me that. And I give him the lighter, and he manages to set it on fire. Well, imagine our surprise when this whole bush catches on fire. Like, we're trying to like break the branch off and kind of throw it in the water, because like this was a bridge that went over a creek, as I said, so we're trying to like dunk it in the water to put it out, but we couldn't get it to break. So at this point, we all just say fucking dip, and like we all go running in separate directions. And so we go over to my friend's house, and I think like while we were there, we got a call from my friend's mom, and she was like, hey, did you guys see that fire on your way home? And we're like, what? No, what? Where was there a fire? And she was like, yeah, it's over there, and I see one of your friends over there talking to the fire department and the police. And we're like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. You know, like obviously we knew what was going on. So we later find out that one of the guys that we were with, the guy that had the spray paint, he decided to stay and call the cops and the fire department on himself. And so I think my friend's mom said she like pulled over, and this guy told her that we were there with them. And at this point, my dad had came and picked me up, so we were over at my house, and I get a phone call on my cell phone saying, dude, like from my friend that I go to, you know, whose house I go to, and he was like, dude, we need you to come back here, the police want to talk to you. And I was like, shit, okay. So I tell my parents kind of like what was going on, and I was like, yeah, there was like a fire, apparently like they think that we did this. And like, you know, my friend's house that I was at, we all kind of came up with like our story about how like, oh, we didn't walk that way, we went over to the McDonald's to get a milkshake or something. So when I get there, my friends, like everybody that I was with at that point in time, were there. And they're like, yeah, the police know that you did this. Come to find out, all my friends basically threw me under the bus. Like I said, I wasn't the one that lit the bush on fire, it was my friend with the spray paint. But they, since I was the last one to get there, they all, you know, agreed that I'm the one that lit this bush on fire and caught this entire side of the hill on fire. I think I forgot to mention that. The fire spread and covered probably about half a football field's worth of grass. So it was a really big area that got burned. You know, I pull up, and the cop that was like investigating or whatever comes up to me and was like, all right, so what's your side of this story? And I tell them, well, you know, I wasn't there. I was like, I went this different way. I went to McDonald's to get myself a milkshake. And they're like, stop lying. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm not lying. That's what happened. And they're like, dude, all of your friends say that you were there with them and you were the one that lit the bush on fire. And he was like, you got two options here. Tell the truth or you're going to jail for third-degree arson. I think, well, actually what happened, like I said, this was 8 years ago. I'm trying to remember this whole entire story. Like, I was denying it, and I think the fire chief or or the police officer or whatever pulled me aside away from, like, my mom and everything. And he was like, and that's where he said, he's like, all right, you got two opportunities here. Either you tell us the truth of what happened, because we already know what happened. We got enough evidence against you to put you in jail right now. Or you tell the truth and we may be able to arrange something. So kind of that realization hit. I was like, fuck, I can like throw away like a couple of years worth of my life. And so that's kind of where I owned up. I was like, okay, yeah, I was the one that did it. Even though I wasn't, I just happened to be there, so I would have been like accessory or battery or whatever the fuck it is. I'm not a lawyer. So afterwards, like after, you know, I basically own up and my mom's sitting over there in tears and everything, the officer like pulled us all together and he was like, all right guys, like you're young. You know, I don't want to ruin your lives. I very easily could put all of you in jail right now. But he was like, you know, accidents happen. I appreciate that, you know, you guys owned up to what you did. And he was like, you know, people make mistakes. Unfortunately, this is what had to happen. But he was like, you know, we'll have you come to the courthouse and we're just going to do kind of like a diversion type of thing, where basically we were in there for, you know, several hours. We kind of did like a fire safety class, and then afterwards we had to like write like a 2-page paper, something about what we learned and how we're never going to do this ever again. And so we got it all wiped off of our records. But, you know, understandably, where, you know, there's a lot of conflict between police and people right now, that experience right there is why I will always be respectful to police officers. You know, if I fuck up, I will admit to it. You know, if I'm doing a $120 on this bike and I get pulled over for it, you know, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I was stupid, and I, you know, I let this bike, you know, get to me a little bit. But, you know, chances are every experience I've ever had with a cop, you know, I've never had a bad experience like that ever. You know, it's always just been like, oh, pulled over for no front license plate, or, you know, just like kind of loitering or whatever. But, you know, I'm always very respectful to police officers, and they've always been very respectful to me. So that was kind of a situation that made me learn that. You know, I thought I was smart and I thought I could get away with it, with lying and everything, but I couldn't. So yeah, that's my story about the time I was almost arrested. Hopefully none of you guys have ever been arrested, but if you've had a story of a bad run-in with police for something kind of bad like that, let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to hear about it. Well guys, thanks for checking out my video. If you enjoyed it or found it entertaining, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe while you're at it. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you later.